everybody. Just gonna come on, driving in the rain here, and just got your hands free on the dash. And wanting to talk about CBDC, which is central bank digital currency. It's being tested out in the United States right now up until about the end of February. It's in a trial run, and if you know anything about the history of what's been going on here for probably, hardcore going on for the last half century. Usually when they test things and try things out, just give it a little time and they happen in real life. So I think them making this announcement during the height of everything we've been going through over the last 3 years and the quickening, if you will, I'd say this test run will probably be legit happening sometime a little bit later on in our, in the coming year, I would say. I mean, I think they want everything in line exactly how they want it, and population and all that. I think they want to have all of that pinpointed and squared away by 2030. That's their latest agenda. Well, there is a 2050 agenda, but it hasn't taken a lot of traction yet. But 2030 looks like what we're on for now. So if you want to know what to expect in the next decade, just do some research into Agenda 2030. And there's things you can't just research on Google, because you're going to have fact checkers. You're going to need to find alternate sources of search bar platforms, if you know what I mean. But just look it up. You can go on DuckDuckGo, type in Agenda 2030. So, central bank digital currencies in a test run right now. It started out a couple weeks ago. It's going to be going for 12 weeks. And what is happening is, it's happening if you are one of these customers, one of these patrons of one of these banking establishments, then you are being a guinea pig without probably even knowing it. Some of you may, some of you may not. But this is like the Big 12 banks. Some people have said 6 banks, some people have said 12, so I guess it's probably somewhere in between. They are running a simulation pretending that you're not giving them a dollar bill, pretending they're not giving, most stuff nowadays is already digitally transferred, transacted, anything you do in the banking system, but you always have that peace of mind of knowing, or at least, we've felt this way, that if we need to, we can go and we can take a few $100s or whatever out of our account, and then we can transact in cash. Certain things that you're doing. Some people, that's what they're used to. That's how they grew up. That's how most of their life has been. They would rather have cash. They just feel more comfortable with cash. I know plenty of people who, every time their check gets in there, because it if older people or people that are on, fixed income, it all goes in digitally nowadays, but you can still go and you can get that out physically in dollars. Well, our Federal Reserve wants to do away with that. They want to do away with the dollars. They want to do away with coins. They want everything to be transpired digitally, transacted digitally, digital only. They want everybody to have, for lack of a better word, just a debit card that you do all your work on, pay all your bills on, you do all your fun on, you do all your shopping on. And they're testing it out right now by every time you make a transaction through your account, say like if you are a have a Citibank account and you go to Kroger and you spend $89. Well, Citibank, Kroger, the platforms in between who help them facilitate monies from the POS to the account, from one account to the next account, spin off all those taxes and fees that they have to pay. They're doing all that, but then they also are pretending that you are giving a CBDC. And I'm coming to find that it's going to be called FedNow. So at the same time as you're giving your real life transactions by swiping your card, the bank is inputting through computer language, binary code, that you are transacting digitally. I know it's hard to grasp, and I know it don't make a lot of sense to people. And I mean, if we want to talk about it more on an in-depth level, just let me know, and I'll try to talk about it a little bit longer and make more sense out of it. But just first and foremost, I guess the most important thing to understand and know about this, because most people who don't know about it say, well, what difference does it make? Because this is what we do every day anyway. Why are they testing? What is this? And what they're doing is just making sure that all of their systems are working the way they're supposed to work. All their systems are transacting the way they're supposed to transact, because they're going to have more code in that. They're going to have code that's going to tell them, eventually, they're going to have code in there that's going to tell them precisely how much red meat you bought. They're going to have code in there that's going to tell them how often you fill up your gas tank. So they're going to have every little line, itemized, basically. And they're going to be able to know this. And the reason why is because they're going to tie this all in with the climate agenda. And we can go into that in another video as well. If you need me to let you know, or if we need to talk about it, just leave me a message and let me know. And they're going to be like, no, you already got gas this week. You can't get gas. And here's the point where you laugh at me and you think that this is all made up and I'm living in a sci-fi world, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but the more you know, the more you grow. It's already happening in China and a couple other small, very third world countries. So look up Estonia. Can't think of the other one's name, but it kind of sounds like euthanasia, but that's not it. But anyway, it's already happening to where they're shutting people off. It's actually already happened here in the U.S. a few times of them shutting and canceling people's checking accounts. So a little bit different, but same result. Someone is getting in the way of you being able to freely transact with the money that you've earned. And that's what we don't want to happen about this central bank digital currency. Do I feel that this is the mark of the beast? No, not yet. Do I want to be a part of it? No, I don't. I don't want to be a part of digital currency because I don't want them to have that much control of me. I don't want them to be able to say, you're not allowed to go to Kentucky. Why are you trying to get gas in Kentucky? Why are you trying to transact in Kentucky? You're not allowed to be in Kentucky. You see where I'm going with that? I don't want the government to be able to minutely control my life more than they already are. So I'm having a real hard time with it Do I think it's going to be something that's going to happen immediately as soon as this is over with and happen all at once? No. It's not going to be able to happen all at once. The federal government can't run itself, obviously, so how are they going to be able to do this, you say? Well, they're going to need a lot of outside help. And I think that's one thing. This is a stall method because they just don't have it all lined out for sure yet, exactly who's going to comply and who's not. Now, if you're any of these major corporations and you already are conversing on the ESG, which is the environmental social governance, if you're already conversing on this through your corporation to your employees, if you're seeing training exercises that are leaning towards being environmentally and socially friendly, trust me, that's a huge lie. That's a huge book. It's a gigantic onion. Because yeah, I love the environment. I want to treat it well. But it's just another avenue for a global governance to control. So there's a lot to it. There's a whole lot to it. Don't give up your cash. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's really what made me start thinking about making this video to begin with. Yes, try to hold on to metals if you can. If you have silver, if you have gold, if you have copper, if you have brass, if you have any kind of metal that you have, hang on to it. I made a mistake when I moved from Sevierville. I needed some work done on that house I was leaving, and I was done with it, didn't want to fool with it, and I gave away about 75 to 80 pounds of metals. So I kick myself in the hind end quite frequently about that, and I'm not going to give up anymore. Even if it's just aluminum, just try to hold on to all the metal that you can for now. Even if it's scrap, it can come in very handy down the road. And I mean, may or may not continue taking out your cash out of the bank every month, every week, whatever. That's up to you. But I do feel that there's going to be quite a large group, quite a large society of people who will not turn in their money when they tell them to turn it in, and they will deem it as obsolete when they want to. But I feel that there's going to be a whole society of people who will continue to transact in it just because we hate change. We're creatures of habit, and a lot of people, especially in my generation and on up, I think will continue to transact in it until it's all dried up and gone away. And I also think that there may be a market for that, so that's something to keep in mind as well. I mean, who knows, one of these days down the road when we're the outliers and we're living on the outskirts of society, you may be able to get $10 worth of something for a $1 bill. And I know that sounds crazy right now and that sounds backwards, but stranger things have happened. So I would say don't give it all up, and I would say it's not all going to happen eventually, but I would say to research this, learn more about it, and see what it's really all about, because as usual, as everything that they do against us, it is about control. And that's the part where it's us against them, is because they're going to be able to control us, and you need to have other things to fall back on. Once they cut you off, you need to be able to fall back on something else. So don't give up all your other valuable goods. Much love.